Hello, everybody. In this particular video lecture series, we are going to talk about a very exciting subject, artificial intelligence. This particular series is brought to you by the YouTube channel AI Nexus, and it will be very interesting for you. What is artificial intelligence? Very simple terms. We can call it as exploring the boundary between how much we can do with human tasks, that is the human thought process, and machine logic. Machine logic means how the machine can be designed to carry out human tasks. So that is what we are going to talk about. This lecture series is brought to you by myself, that is Dr. T.V. Geeta, and my co-presenter, Dr. M. Saranya. And so both of us together are going to take you through an exciting journey into the world of AI. This also includes the subset of AI like machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. Okay, so we will talk about all this as we go along. All this is a part of AI only. We have two unique aspects in this lecture series. One is this lecture series is meant for all, each and every one of you who is interested in AI. So it gives you the basics that you need to understand your world, in other words. And it is also useful for people who want to use AI for in their own domain of expertise, whatever it may be. Okay, and it is also for people who are formally studying this subject, and it gives them from basics to understand the deep and complicated things they are going to study later. So it helps you to understand AI better, whether you are a person who wants basics, whether you're a person who wants to apply AI in your domain of exercise or expertise, or you are studying AI. Okay, all these people can look at this series of lectures and gain by it. The next unique feature of this particular lecture series is that we are trying to explain concepts to you using real world analogies. That means we are trying to take everyday examples or real world examples and trying to link with this concept, so that you can understand those concepts with what you already know. So that is one thing that we are doing. And then we are trying to teach you how to think in terms of AI. The AI thinking is not the same as the human thought process. So that we are trying to teach you as we go along. And then there is a set of activities and questions. These activities are very simple. It can be done if you put your mind to it. So I strongly suggest that you try out these activities. And we have also given you some questions, objective questions, to check your understanding. Okay, so this is generally what each lecture will be. Now, as I already told you, this whole lecture series is brought to you by the YouTube channel AI Nexus, and I request you to subscribe to this channel. Okay, so now we are going to go to the first video lecture, which is going to be about an introduction to AI. So here what we're going to do is we're going to give you an introduction which includes basics, why you should study AI, and how AI comes into your everyday lives, and some other topics. So we'll see what we're going to talk in this. So we're going to talk about why should we study or know about AI, what is it, what is its history, the three pillars of AI, the basic pillars of AI, then what is AI today, how it has evolved from before to now. And then we're going to also look at glimpses of machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI with respect to where it comes in AI. Then we are also looking at some AI applications in different domains. And then we are going to look at the social impact of AI, both negative and positive, and some ethical aspects of AI. So this is what we want to cover in this AI introduction slide. Now let us go to uh, the why at all we should study AI, because it is there everywhere. So you should know about it at least, because it is transforming the world, whether you like it or not, whether you know about it or not. It is transforming the world. Is it for the better? That depends on how human beings utilize it. Okay. Then now we have come up with a lot of complex problems because of the amount of digital data that is there. For example, you take sustainability problems; they are a little bit complex problems, and AI has problem-solving power to tackle these problems. Next, how does AI drive innovation and creativity? It gives you more ways in which you can think about your application. Basically, what it does is it takes out the integrity aspects of many applications and leaves you with the the a way to do innovation and do creativity and carry out creativity in your tasks. Now, this is a surprising aspect for you, maybe, because we are talking about career opportunities. Now, all of you have maybe heard that jobs are being replaced by AI. Is it necessary to go for AI? Will it affect the jobs of people? Yes, it does. But it creates even more jobs. So if you're able to think in terms of AI and use AI in an innovative way in your domain of exercise, then it does create new job opportunities. That means your thinking process as well as your skill sets have to be changed to accommodate these jobs. So it is not, there are more jobs, but the traditional jobs are being replaced. Then comes the next aspect. Ethics is becoming very, very important in AI systems, because AI systems are deciding on a lot of decisions. I mean, they are affecting a lot of decisions, like whether you get a loan, whether you get admission. A lot of them are decided by AI systems. Now, as human beings, we have an inborn from when we were growing up, we have inborn ethics with us. We do some things which is correct only, it doesn't affect other people. So AI systems also has to have that ethical aspect. It has to be designed into it by human beings only, otherwise AI systems will not be accepted and will not be widely applicable. And then we talk about the impacts. Impacts can be positive and negative. We will see as we go along. So these are the reasons why we should study AI. Now we go to the course roadmap. So in this particular series of lectures, we will be covering the following topics. Okay, so this introduction to AI, this is the slide. Then, video. Then you have basics of machine learning. Here we may be covering it in each of these topics in more than one video. Okay, so basics of machine learning, and then comes types of machine learning, and then we go into deep learning, detail into deep learning. Then we go into generative AI, very, very important topic today. I'll tell you why as we go along. Then we go to some applications and projects that you can how we go from the beginning into these applications and how we apply it. And then we specifically concentrate on the ethical aspects also. Okay, so with that, we go. This is how we are going to go about the course. But as your depending on your feedback, we may add more topics, especially AI in specific domains. Now let us look at some applications that we see in our uh, everyday life or in our daily life. We said that AI is transforming the world, and we come across such applications and use them a lot in our daily lives. So let's look at some areas and some specific application in these areas. So we're looking at AI in daily life. So you have smart home devices. Some component of AI is there in many smart devices, fridge for example, washing machine, phones, and so on. And then you have transportation. Here it is for goods and human being both types of transportation. But typically, no one can travel today without using Google Maps. So it gives traffic prediction, route optimization, and so on. And Uber and such other applications where you have the rider and the driver matching, and you have IRCTC, which uses seat availability prediction. Then comes another autonomous vehicles. Though we do not have a full-fledged commercial autonomous vehicle today, a lot of these AI components are used in current automobiles. Okay. Then you have shopping and retail. So this is very commonly used, like Amazon for your product recommendation, book recommendations, Google Pay, which does a amount of fraud detection, Swiggy. We all cannot do without Swiggy, where other similar application, food applications for delivery time prediction and also restaurant ranking. Then we have banking and finance, where we have Paytm for fraud detection, also gives you a spending insight. How much are you spending? HDFC Bank for again fraud detection and convenient chatbot. Then you have entertainment, major area in which AI is there, where you have Netflix for movie and series recommendations. Then you have YouTube for video recommendations and Spotify for personalized playlists. Then you have work and productivity, where it uses smart scheduling and things like that to improve productivity. And then you have social media, where lots of social media applications, spam detection in both WhatsApp and Gmail. Gmail also gives you options of smart composing. Then Instagram for feed ranking and face filters, and Grammarly for grammar correction, useful for people who are writing articles. For grammar correction, also you can change the tone. Both some applications we are talking about. Then you have security and safety applications, where police are given what are the hotspots of crime and suspicious behaviors detected, and so on. Then you have travel and tourism. There is booking.com, and then virtual destination can be seen virtually by you, and so on. Then you have healthcare and wellness. Lot of applications are there. One is Fitbit. It's an activity analysis, and it also gets your uh, sleep patterns. There are a lot of smartwatches that have similar applications inbuilt in them. And then you have 1mg, which is an online medicine delivery system, which gives some medicine suggestions if you don't get what you want. You have given something in your prescription, but that's not available. They give you some other suggestions. Not to say you should take that. You should probably ask your doctor. Then comes education. I'm just telling one small application, one application. There are many others, like adaptive content recommendation according to your personalized requirement. It gives similarly some suggestions for you, again personalized, where which course you should take and what content you should read are given as suggestions. Most of these applications work on some patterns, like historically what you've done, especially for personalized applications. Now let's see the overall impact that AI has in our daily life. So it basically saves time, it reduces human effort, it improves accuracy, it helps you in decision support. What movie should I see? What book should I buy? What course should I take? And so on. And then it enhances our safety in daily life, especially using fraud detection, an example, and personalized experience. This has become possible mainly because of AI. Okay, so it is tailoring the education or help to suit your behavior in the past. Not only behavior, all your characteristics. So this is the main impact of AI in daily life. We have just looked at some examples. There are many other examples also available. Okay. Let us go to the next topic, which is the history of AI. So when did AI actually start? It started in the 50s. by that is called the birth of AI, acknowledges as the birth of AI. And a Turing test was the first topic that had to do with this. We'll be coming into that later. And there was an important conference called Dartmouth Conference. That is where the term AI itself came into the picture. Then came the 1960s and 70s. A lot of AI was done. It is symbolic AI, or rule-based systems and expert systems. So it is based on if this happens, then this is one set of rules, and then they were going to do. But the problem is it was not applicable across other domains, other areas. So everything had to be rewritten again. So this led to it was not realistically applicable. So in the 80s and 90s, there was an AI winter. There was not much of funding for AI, and the research in AI slowly dwindled at that time. Then came the 2000. This is the time when there was a lot of data becoming available. So what happened is this data could be used, digital data I'm talking about, and a lot of computing power also became available. So then again interest in AI started. Then here we have machine learning coming into the picture, probabilistic issues coming into the picture. Then came 2010. This is where actual world-changing applications happen using deep learning, or DL as it is called. For example, image recognition became, actually real world applicable. So 2010 saw this. Then came 2020. This was the generative AI era. Most of you would have used ChatGPT, that is an example, and DALL-E. So here, this is the basic history of artificial intelligence. Now let us go into the first. In the history, we saw something called the Turing test. This is the start of the AI revolution. So this is Alan Turing, and he asked an important question. What did he ask? Can machines think? This is the question he asked. So what did he do? What he's asking is, can machine imitate human reasoning, learn, and can it make decisions? This is a question he asked. Remember, it was as far back as 1950. And he came up with something called a Turing test. The job of the Turing test is to measure the ability of the machine to exhibit intelligent behavior such that the behavior is indistinguishable by what human do. So the machine's behavior is almost cannot be differentiated from human behavior. This is what he proposed the Turing test to do. So what is this Turing test? You have actually three people here: the interrogator, okay, or the questioner, or the judge, and then you have the computer, a computer with software program, and then you have the human responder. Now the questioner asks a series of questions, and to the responder, both the computer and the human responder, and they have to reply. Now from this set of back and forth of questions and responses, if the interrogator cannot distinguish which is a computer and which is a human being, then the computer is supposed to have passed the Turing test. This is what is the Turing test. And that means the computer is behaving in a way similar to human responder. Remember, this is way back in 1950. So it was a very simple text, like, question and answer. But this is where he started. Or he gave a small, starting for this machine behavior being similar to human behavior. Then came the next person. He was called as, the next person is John McCarthy. He was, AI, the term AI was created by his team. So he proposed a study of this term, artificial intelligence. That is the first time that term is used during the summer of 1956 in the Dartmouth Conference. in that college, and it was to study every aspect of learning, so that it can describe a machine, and it can simulate that the intelligent behavior. So he is John McCarthy. So the term artificial intelligence and the field of study of artificial intelligence can be called as the science as well as the engineering. So this is the first time it's becoming a little more technical. Making intelligent machines, science and engineering of making intelligent machines, especially intelligent computer programs. So now comes programming and intelligent programming. And so he said machines that can act, think, learn, and act intelligently. In fact, this particular definition is valid even today. Modern AI also has the same definition, components in the definition. Now, it is not just a concept, AI. Okay, it's already, as we already saw, it was already part of our daily life, making tasks that we used to, do smarter and faster. Examples of this, we have just given some simple example is email filters, spam filters, which tells you whether mail is automatically tells you whether mail is spam or not spam, and recommendation engines which you use for, when you buy Amazon book, it recommends some books for you based on some things, like who read the book you're searching for earlier and so on. And then Chatbo, which is a chat GPT. If you've used it, you know what it is. So these are some applications of AI. Now, let us look at what is the actual difference between human AI, human intelligence and artificial intelligence. Okay. So first, let us look at the learning aspect. Now, as far as human learning is concerned, it can reason in an abstract way and it can make judgments. It can decide whether this is correct or wrong. Yeah, such judgments it can make. What about AI? AI, there is no genuine emotion. It just uses logic, rules, and probability. It uses logic, rules, and probability. That is, it is based on mathematical, if you want to say that, because probability, then it uses rule matching and so on. So learning is like that. Now about emotion, uh, human intelligence learns from experience, emotions, as well as context. So it understands this is the context, this is what will happen. This context, this emotion, this is what will happen, and so on. So experience, the older you get, you're supposed to be more intelligent. Okay. But as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, it learns from data using algorithms. That's all. So the more data you have, it does. It does not have anything to do with more data is equivalent to experience, but it has nothing to do with emotions. Then comes creativity. Of course, human being is highly creative and imaginative. Otherwise, we won't be having these type of application. It is all due to human being. But artificial intelligence has limited creativity and is again based on these patterns of data. So data, patterns of data, this is what gives the intelligence to artificial intelligence. Then adaptability. So human beings are very, very flexible and it can handle any unfamiliar situation, well or not, but it can handle. On the other hand, artificial intelligence, limited capability or adaptability only. It again depends on what your data you have given as input, the so-called training data. So this is the basic difference between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. So AI does mimic human intelligence, but what does it lack? It lacks emotion, it lacks flexibility, and it lacks creativity. Okay. Now let's look at three important pillars of AI. So one is data. So data is the raw material. If you do not have data, no, but remember this data is created by human beings. And he decides what's the data that you have to give to the system. So large amounts of very high quality machine data. If you give it low quality data, what the AI does will be low quality only. It won't be correct. And it should have diverse data. It should not be the same type of data. Then learning does not happen. So data, large amounts of high quality diverse data. Diverse means different situation it should give data about. It should give, we should give data, provide data to it. Then the next part is algorithms. So algorithms are nothing but the mathematical and computational models that will process this data and learn patterns. Again, the important concept here is learn patterns. How does it learn patterns? It uses the data and uses mathematical and computational model to learn these patterns. And finally comes the learning. So the learning is the idea of learning is it has to improve performance over time, and it has to adjust the parameters so that the learning is more exactly what is needed. Okay, so this is important. So it learns the patterns and it learns to adjust the patterns to using by adjusting parameters. You can forget that part, but either by giving it more data or using human induced feedback. So that way it will modify its learning. So you have data, you have algorithms, and you have learning. This is the basic three pillars of AI. Remember, all places this doesn't happen, but these are the three basic pillars of. Now we go to what is AI today? Has it changed from its initial uh, when it started? Yes. How has it changed? It is doing more and more tasks that normally require human intelligence, and it is now able to adapt to new information. If you have already learned and you give it new information, it is able to adapt. It can operate autonomously without human interaction or human control. It can, whether that is good or not is another point. We'll discuss that later. It is able to generalize. You give it some data, it will learn some pattern. What is this learning pattern? It tries to generalize it. We'll come to this generalization later, and it will optimize to improve the performance. Then comes, it is now capable of generating original outputs. This is never possible before. So it can create a new music. Okay, it can create new articles. So this is a component of AI called, or subset of AI called generative AI, which also we will be covering later. So novel, it is not creating something already existing. It can create new songs, new videos, and so on. How it does that, you don't bother about that for now. Then comes the transformation. It is very powerfully transforming the world. It is everywhere. So this is now becoming more and more places it is being applied. And finally comes the ethical challenges, the societal challenges. What happens if I use AI in this particular component? Is it okay? Or are there issues? These type of society, is society going to accept this? These are questions we have to ask. And then there are some powerful technical challenges also in AI today. Okay, including huge amounts of data, huge amounts of changing rapidly and so on. Can be lots of technical challenges are there. So that is where AI stands today. Now let us go to the seeing the glimpses of AI and its subsets. So first let us talk about AI. Now AI, or artificial intelligence as it is, artificial intelligence or AI, are systems that perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. Now, how much of this human intelligence, what level, is what differentiates a lot of things, but it can perform. That is the definition that was given by the early people who worked in this area. Now let's take, now this you look at, this is the traditional flow of AI, and today AI combines all the other subsets and becomes a complete system, but this is the traditional flow of AI. So it takes data, both facts and data, and also a knowledge base. What does this knowledge base contain? It contains rules, contains facts. Okay, rules, it can contain rules in many forms. Commonly used is if then rules, and logic. It gives all this in the knowledge base. Combining these two, an inference engine is built which can do reasoning using rule matching or logical reasoning. It can do both. So after this inference engine, it is capable of making decisions, and then you will get the output. The output will be either an advice or an action or a decision. So you see here, you're giving inputs, which is data and facts. You're giving the logic to be used, the rules to be used, and then the inference engine is taking these two and inferring or logical reasoning or rule matching using these two, and then it's making some decision and giving an output. So this is the basic surface level definition of traditional AI. Okay, so next let's go to the next subset of AI, which is machine learning. Actually, today's AI is mostly operated by machine learning algorithms. Okay, so machine learning is a component of most AI today. So let us first look at the definition of AI. So they are systems that improve automatically from experience. What is experience? Experience in terms of AI and machine learning is data without being explicitly programmed. This is an important part. You don't tell it this is what rules you have to use, this is the logic you have to use. Without telling that, it learns directly from the data. And it learns, what does it learn from the data? It learns patterns from the data. And if you're given entirely new data, unseen data, to these you can use these patterns to make predictions. So let's see an example. You have data. So data has we are looking at shapes here. So you have rectangle, circle, triangle, square. Those are the labels, and you give it these images. Then you use an algorithm which is you can use different algorithms. It will create a machine learning model. Okay, and using this model, if you give it new data, test data, the original data is called training data. If you give it test data, it will make prediction of whether the image you've given it, if assuming it's an image, is a circle or is it a triangle. I'm not going to go into more detail here. It's a very surface level flow. So you have data, you have an algorithm operating on the data to create a model. Then you give this model new data, it will make a prediction. Okay, now you come to the next one, which is deep learning. Now, in this deep learning, we are going to explain the flow of deep learning using the machine learning flow. But first of all, let us see the definition of deep learning. So again, it is a subset of machine learning, which means essentially it's also a subset of AI, and it uses neural networks. No, do you mean to say machine learning does not use neural network? It does. It does, but it is this deep learning uses neural networks in a more complex way, and it is able to model very complex patterns so that you can carry out image processing, natural language processing, speech recognition, and so on. Okay, so the difference between this is an important point, that is, it learns directly from the raw data. What do you mean by raw data? It means that only data is there. You're not going to talk about anything else. I'll come to that when we are talking about this, the flow here. And it is able to extract the features of the data automatically. That is what is different from machine learning. So let's first look at the machine learning flow from this context or from this perspective. So you have machine learning, you give it input. In this case, we are giving it the type of cars, and you have to carry out feature extraction. Or listen to this carefully. In this feature extraction, it is a humans who decide what features to consider, which means it is human engineered feature extraction. And after once you do that, it goes to a model. Here we are using classification, so we are using a classification model, and it gives output. In this case, it gives type of car. This is the basic flow of machine learning. That is, you give input, human decide on the features, and you do human engineered feature extraction. Then you build a model, here classification, and you give the output. Now, what happens when deep learning is done? Please note, this definition of flow of deep learning is only a very surface level one. So here you see that in deep learning, the feature extraction and the classification are combined together. The human does not engineer the features or does not give the features, it automatically extracts the features from the uh, data, and it uses a neural network, a complex neural network to learn, to do both feature extraction and build the model, in this case, the classification model. And then you give the output, which is the type of car, as we did before. Okay, now we go to the next one, which is generative AI. Now, generative AI is a subset of deep learning. So is also a subset of machine learning, also a subset of AI. Now, what is different about generative AI? It can create new content. It can create text, it can create images, it can create audio, it can create video, it can create music, and so on. So, it is based on learned patterns. As you saw, in all we are talking about learned patterns only, using again deep learning models. So, it does use deep learning models. But because it is doing a lot of novel output creation, it needs lots of training data so that the patterns can be learned effectively. Now here you have the input data collection. It has to be huge, remember. Then you go to model training. Similarly, how we do model training, we do that. Remember, there is no feature extraction because deep learning itself does not have, and generative AI uses deep learning models. Then you have the probabilistic data distribution. This is what is different. It learns a data distribution. It does not actually learn a pattern. Uh, if you do not know what is data distribution, doesn't matter. But from this data distribution, we are able to extract new novel output. That is what is important. So you get new output generation. But does this new output generation always give correct? No. So an important part of generative AI is also the feedback. So using feedback, it will redefine the whole model and the probabilistic data distribution so that the output generated is of acceptable quality. So we have now seen glimpses of AI, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. What we have seen is a very surface level flow. Okay. Now, next we will talk a little bit about, again, this is very surface level, but to give you a completeness, we'll talk about the types of machine learning. Machine learning only we are talking about in this particular video. So, in machine learning, you have three types of uh, machine learning. There is actually, when we go later on, we'll talk about four, but now for this present video, we are going to talk only about three. So, one is supervised learning. One is unsupervised learning, and the third is reinforcement learning. Okay, and you will see here some diagrams. I'll explain these diagrams as we move along. So, what is the supervised learning? Remember, what is given as input to supervised learning is the data, okay, input, along with what output you need, which are called labels. Okay, so the input along with the label is given, and the supervised learning algorithms learn from this label data so that it can predict outcomes about of when it is given hitherto unknown data. So an example is of this is, you want to classify text as sentimentally classified text as positive, neutral, and negative. So what you do is you give a large amount of data which is tagged or labeled as positive, some negative, some neutral, and then when you give it a new text, it will be able to classify it into either positive, neutral, or negative. Next comes unsupervised learning. Comparing with supervised learning, unsupervised learning does not give the output. It just gives the data. Data means along with features only, it gives the data. And what is expected of unsupervised learning is to learn the group or hidden patterns inside this data. An example of this is, suppose you are given customers, okay, along with the features, it will automatically group these customers, called as customer segmentation. Normally this is very important in business because you want to group the customers according to uh, what their some criteria, so that You can, marketing strategy can be given, discounts can be given, and so on. Can be for anything in a business sense. Then comes reinforcement learning. Now, reinforcement learning is learning by trial and error. So, depending on you are an agent, okay, and depending upon the environment, you do some actions which affect the environment, and you get either rewards or penalties based on what actions you've done. So, and in this way, by getting a series of doing a series of actions and getting rewards and penalties, you learn what strategy has to be followed. So a typical example of this is self-driving cars, but that learn to navigate traffic. But let me give, I always like to give an example from a little more understandable. So let me assume that you are learning driving from your father. Okay, and a father is a very silent person, so he doesn't give you instructions. Now you drive the car, you give a sudden brake, and the car starts shaking. He hits you on the head. This means this is a penalty. Now you see a traffic sign. Well, before you correctly go and park there, he gives you a pat. That means this is a reward. So by following a series of actions and getting such rewards and penalties, you know how to drive a car. This is a simplified version of understanding rewards and penalties. So self-driving cars also, there will be signals that tells it, okay, this is correct way of navigating traffic. This is not. So in this way, it learns to navigate traffic. Now let us go to the some applications of AI. I've just taken 4 domains. There are umpteen domains you can consider. What we are doing here is different tasks that can be done in each domain. So the first domain we are considering is business. So job recruitment can be automized. Okay, what do you mean by this? That is the business gives the requirements of the job, and the people who are applying have to give the criterion, and then it does a matching and maybe ranks the candidates. And it can enhance the in-store experience, saying some items are never bought, so push it at the back and so on. Customer segmentation or grouping of customers we've already seen in the example. And then forecasting sales, depending upon the previous history, you can do many criteria. It depends. You can forecast what will the sales be this week, this month, and so on. Social sentiment analysis, again we saw an example. You can analyze advertisements which generated positive attitude and so on, and then you can recommend products that should be kept in this should be sold by the business, and you can also predict what the customers will buy, and you can also do a dynamic price optimization depending upon the season, depending upon the demand, and so on. Next domain we're going to look at is very interesting domain for all of us, which is education. Again, it can automate the administrative tasks like selecting a candidate for interviews, scrutinizing applications, and so on. Curriculum planning, it can take the curriculum from different universities and then decide on what is the curriculum we should do. This particular next one, that is smart content creation, is very important in today, because today's students have very short attention span. So if you do traditional teaching, a lot of students just switch off. So if you can create smart content as a faculty, it will be very, very useful. But to create that, you have to think differently in an AI way. Then, of course, chatbots and virtual assistants for particular students. Automatic grading, again, can I trust it fully? That is a little difficult, but still it will help you in the grading. It will help you to give assistance to students. Personalized learning, this is gaining a lot of importance today. That is depending upon the characteristics of the student, his demographic characteristics, as well as how he is learning and so on. You can personalize your training, your teaching, such that certain exercises are given for certain students and so on. Another thing that is coming into picture is collaborative learning. For students who do not know each other but are learning machine learning, can suggestions can be given that why don't you collaborate? Maybe it will lead to better learning. Then comes another important area, which is healthcare. So healthcare administration and operations can be made in a more intelligent, automatic manner. Early disease prediction, this is becoming very important. But in healthcare, you have to be very careful that whatever these AI systems are doing is only helping the doctor. It is giving some suggestions to the doctor. It cannot take many autonomous decisions. So medical imaging and diagnostics, so many people are doing research on this. Okay, so this is helping the doctor by providing the necessary, diagnostics to treat in a more speedier way. And clinical decision and support, personalized treatment plan, again depending upon your eating habits, depending upon your diabetes, your clinical conditions, depending upon your country, whether you live in a rural or thing, depending on what grows in that area, all that you can suggest treatments and diet plans for your patients. Then remote monitoring and telemarketing, again, telemedicine, becoming very, very important when the country has a large number of remote, inaccessible villages. Of course, you have to have the connectivity. Robot-assisted surgery is becoming very important now. So for this, a lot of data, which I told you is very important, has to be given by the medical professional in a way that AI systems can use it. Then comes drug discovery and development. Drug discovery and development is very important because it takes a lot of time as well as a lot of money to develop drugs. So AI can help to speed up this process and thus bring down the cost of drugs. So it becomes very important. Next comes travel and tourism. Again, as I already told you, it customizes travel recommendations according to each person or each family, maybe. Baggage handling solutions can be provided. Security and safety, how you have to behave in certain places, where in that particular town it is dangerous to go, and so on. Automated travel insurance. So if you need to take an insurance, how should you take, depending on other criteria. Then weather and traffic prediction. Sometimes you will end up in a tourist place and you find that it's raining heavily or the traffic is so heavy that you cannot get and see any place. Then that will be predicted for you beforehand. Then smart booking chatbot. Chatbot will tell you the suggestions of how you should go about booking so that it is convenient as well as less costly. And this is another very interesting application where you can actually virtually go to that place, explore it, and see whether it is to your liking. And also you can find out, this is both from the travel industry viewpoint as well as the customer, whether dynamic pricing should be given or whether it is available. So I have just touched upon 4 domains. Even in these domains there are other tasks that can be done. A lot is left to the imagination of the person who's designing the tasks, but these are only 4 domains. There are umpteen number of domains, as I already told. Then we will talk about impact of AI. Does it have? It has two sides, both positive impact and negative impact. Now let us first look at the positive impact. One, it is improving healthcare. Okay, and two, education. Again, it's making education much more uh, attractive to students, and it is reducing some tasks of the faculty so that they can concentrate more on providing better content. Okay, and business and productivity, again it is improving business and productivity, and it is becoming in such a way that it is becoming accessible to many people. The negative impact, it's not only positive impact, the negative impact is job replacement. So a lot of people are scared if that I will lose my job, especially when they are a little bit hesitant to take up new skills or think differently. Bias and discrimination, if the data given to the AI system is already biased, then what I mean by bias is in that data for a particular job, only only males have applied, okay, or only males were there in the job for historical data. So now when a female applies, may not get because there is no data available. So this is bias, gender bias as it is called. Then comes privacy concern. So when you are giving a lot of data is taken from different applications of yours. So there is privacy concern. Maybe sometimes when you are in the middle of an application, you suddenly give consent. So it is accessing a lot of your data. Okay, so this is very concerning. Sometimes it will ask you permission, but only for one particular application, but uses in other places. So these are issues that we have to think of. So privacy is a major concern. Then misinformation, it gives, it takes data. For example, political parties can take only data that reflects them positively and provide it. So this is actually misinformation. And also based on your computer savviness, depending upon how you are adapting to AI, there may be a concentration on par with few people, I mean minority of people. This is also possible. Okay, then we talk about another important aspect of AI, since it is now affecting our everyday life, especially. So, some ethical aspects are fairness and non discrimination. This I already told you with the job example. So, the job of AI, or the person who's designing that AI system, it has to treat everyone equally without any discrimination. Then transparency. It should allow the developers, users, regulators, everyone to see the complete development process, and also how AI has taken a decision. What are the factors that led to this decision? Okay, this has to be transparent. It has to be shown openly. Then comes accountability. Now, when AI system makes a decision, whether it can give you a loan or not, whether your insurance premium is higher or not, who's accountable for this decision? It is never an AI system, because AI system is built by designed by human beings. So everyone involved in the design and deployment is responsible. So there should not be oversight of AI, and AI human has to come into the loop to check whether the decisions that AI has done are correct. AI cannot be made accountable. Then privacy, again we have discussed this a little. It has to manage whatever personal data is given to the system very responsibly. It has to keep it secure such that other people cannot take your data, meaning other systems and so on, or accessible to your competitors in the case of business. And it has to be used only for the purpose it was intended to be used by the user. You have got permission for some purpose, suddenly you can't use it for some other purpose. So privacy is important. Next comes safety and reliability. It should not cause any harm to individuals or to communities, and it should operate accurately in any scenario, even if it's an unexpected scenario. So safety and reliability are again important. Then comes human-centered design. This is important in today's AI system. Every time, when I say AI system, it means everything. Systems designed, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, the whole AI system. The technology should serve human needs and values and well-being. It should not harm them. So this is the major 6 ethical aspects of AI. So AI designers have to ensure all these ethical aspects are taken care of. Now let us look at the probable future of AI. So one, it is going to become more general. Okay, that is, it's called AG, artificial general intelligence, like those type of abilities. So it is going to be emotional and social AI is going to become very important, and it is going to become like a co-pilot for life. That is, it's going to help drive your life. Okay, then comes AI accessibility. AI is going to be there in every device through some technology called edge and quantum. So AI will run locally without internet, and it will be faster and it will be more efficient also. Then AI agents. Agents have been there from a long time ago, but these are self-acting systems. That is, it will behave like a digital employee. It will do the work for you automatically. Okay. And then comes human AI collaboration everywhere. So the idea of all these AI systems is to augment human abilities. It is not to act completely autonomously such that it harms humans. And then it has to be ethical and it has to be safe. And now is going to come regulated AI. It's not that regulated AI is not there. There are going to become there is going to come regulations as well as legal systems that will ensure that your AI systems behave as it should behave, and it will ensure transparency, fairness, and safety testing. And now let us come to the conclusions. Some terms we have seen are artificial intelligence, AI, of course, Turing test, human intelligence, data, learning, intelligence, machine learning, and ethical AI. So here you have understood the basics of AI and its history. You have been given glimpses of the flow of AI, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. You've also learned about some tasks in different applications of AI in different domains, the social impacts of AI, and the ethical aspects, and we have touched upon some future trends. I've given you the references here. In the next video, we will be exploring the basics of machine learning. And this machine learning is the foundation of most of current AI systems. Okay. Now, thank you very much for listening to this particular video. I hope you found it understandable, interesting. Oh, let me see what's happening. Okay, so I hope you feel that. And I again request you to subscribe to our channel, AI Nexus. And more importantly, I want feedback from you, especially if you want to apply AI in different domains, whoever you may be. You may be a businessman, you may be a banker, you may be a counselor, you may be a educationist, you may be a medical personnel, you may be a storekeeper, you may be a farmer, whatever may be your domain. If you want to apply AI in that, I can design and provide specific videos for domains that you are interested in. If a number of people ask for those domains, then I can design specific programs and help. And after this, I'm going to, of course, you have to subscribe to this. And I'm also given you a set of suggested activities, which in first videos I'm giving you. List some AI tools that you think you use in your everyday life. Please do not search on the net and all. Think and you tell. List. Then list some activities that cannot be done by AI. It requires human intelligence. Okay. And then you give 2 examples where you think AI systems, if it is operating instead of a human being, it will give you unfair results. So these are 3 applications. After this, we have check your understanding questions, which I suggest you also try. So thank you, everyone.